Hello, card gamers. Today, I wanted to go through a bit of a tournament report, kind of a double tournament report on May 4th and May 5th. In Utah, there were back-to-back 1K tournaments. I played in both of them. There was a special twist on them, though, because for May the 4th, if you won the event with a Heroism deck, then you got an extra box. And on May 5th, Revenge of the Sith, if you were playing a Villainy deck and you won, then you got a bonus box of packs. In addition to this, in the top cut, there were showcases given out and stuff. And so because of those incentives, I myself did, and I'm sure that maybe some others did as well, tilted our decks towards what we thought people would play in those tournaments. I actually ended up playing Heroism for both of them. There was a lot of decks that I was thinking about and testing, and I actually really did want to play the Blue Vader deck. I do enjoy playing hard control stuff like that. But with the Heroism incentive, I anticipated there being a solid amount of Sabines, especially because it's the most straightforward hero deck. Even though Han Solo is very, very powerful, especially Green Han, it's a bit harder to pilot. I think its lines of play are not as obvious to most players, I think, and it's pretty easy to make mistakes with Han Solo, and so. And people are less practiced with it, I'm sure, too. And so I was sure there was going to be a lot of Sabines, and I just did not want to be playing, that hard of a control deck. But anyways, I've got the results here. Day one, on Tournament 1, the Heroism incentive one, it was a little bit larger. It was 40 plus people. The next day, it was, I think, 30-ish people. Somewhere around there, so it was a little bit less, but let's go into it. I'll show you the list. Okay, so we'll pull this up. For the Heroism day, I played this discard Han Solo deck. So this was inspired from the Han Solo deck that got in, I think, top 16 at the 5K in Florida. But for me personally, there were a solid amount of card choices in that deck that just was a little bit confusing to me, especially that they were in the main deck. There was a few one-ofs and just some awkward stuff. And so I'll also move over here to the side so you can see the side deck over here. But this list is actually very, very, very slightly than what I brought in there, because something I learned during that tournament, I didn't even tell you. Okay, I went 5-1. I went 5-1 in Swiss with this, and I was actually playing 2 black ones and 2 waylays, and I decided to instead take a black one out and put the 3rd waylay back in, because I found myself almost always resourcing the first black one I saw every time, because I knew there was another one in there, and I also am playing Forced Surrender in here, and black one very, very rarely got played, and there was quite a few times where I was wishing for a waylay, or if I drew a waylay, then I actually could get to a winning game state, but I didn't, because I wasn't playing 3, I guess. And this deck is really fun. It's really fun. Oh, one more thing I'll say before I get into talking about the deck is the other slight change here is over here in the sideboard, I had 3 Bodhi Rooks and just 1 Azatec Liberator Gunship, and I found that I'm destroying Blue Vader so hard with this deck. I'm destroying control decks so hard with this deck, with the Force Surrenders and the K2s and the Spark of Rebellions already, and the Force Throws, that I didn't need 3 Bodhi Rooks, and that I would have rather had the 3rd Bodhi Rook instead be another Azatec Liberator Gunship for aggro matches to be able to stabilize space immediately. The Falcon is great. Falcon is awesome. It comes out ready, but the Azatec Liberator, you play it and it gets to kill the spaceship right then on that action instead of having to wait for your opponent to do something and then being able to attack. So that's the only difference there over on this side. The Greedos for aggro. The Syndicate Lackeys are for Sabine specifically. The Forced Surrender is for the control matches, as well as the Bodhi Rook. And then the 2 Han Solo units over there are actually just to swap with Mace Windu if I end up playing against another Han Solo deck, because Han Solo conveniently has 6 HP, and I'd rather be ramping to 7 to immediately defeat their leader with the Han Solo unit. So that's why that's over there. But this deck, oh my goodness. It was wildly fun. And the crazy thing is I really didn't play test this deck very much at all. I took the list that was from that top 16 and I adjusted the things that I didn't like about it, adjusted some ratios, and then I think I played maybe 2 games with this against Blue Vader was like my only testing, I think. I think maybe I played 1 game against Sabine, I'm not sure, in play testing on the night before. So literally like played 3 games basically. And it was just really fun. And I learned a lot of lessons throughout the tournament too. What's actually crazy is I lost the first round of the tournament. And I lost it to a red Leia. And it was on game 3. It was super close. And we got into this situation where I was super low on HP. They had used all 3 for a cause I believe in. They used 2 of their K2 SOs. And then they might have even already used another U-Wing reinforcement. And then eventually they used another U-Wing reinforcement, and it brought out an Echo-based defender and the final K2. And I wasn't able to deal with that turn. I was able to get them to 1 HP on that turn, but then they would have initiative and then they would instantly kill me the next turn. So it was a super tight game, super close. Unfortunately, my opponent who beat me round 1, they literally lost every other game of the tournament. But I still won out, and so I was the lowest X1 at 5th place, I think. But still, you know, it was top 8 for those placements, and it was super fun. I did play against, I think, 5 unique decks. Yeah, so it was Red Leia, and then I played against Red Han, but it was different. So it was funny. It was like a Red Han mirror match. I think they were playing Tarkin Town, though, and they were playing some different cards for sure. Definitely no Force Throw, Force Surrender, nothing like that. I believe I 2-0'd, and then I played against Green Han, which was super close too. I'm not sure if I think it was, we went to game 3, and the craziest thing, it was so crazy. Such an awesome player. He had a home 1, and he had a Bright Hope, and basically they were gonna kill me with initiative on the next turn because their home 1 was gonna be able to do 1,000,000 damage to me. And I had a readied R2-D2, I had a readied Ezra Bridger, and I believe they were at 8, somewhere around 8 HP remaining. And I believe they were playing Energy Conversion Lab as well, unfortunately for them, in that situation, because what ended up happening is, with my Ezra Bridger and my R2-D2, I needed to have Ezra find what I thought was Surprise Strike on the top of my deck. But what we did is we played Fleet Lieutenant onto Ezra to hit the base for 5. And then Ezra top decked the Heroic Sacrifice. So then I got to have R2-D2 immediately attack for the final 3 damage. It was so crazy. It was spooky. And so I was able to get that one. That was round 3. I think round 4, what did we do? I know the final round was against Sabine, and that was a crazy game too. It was really tight in game 3. I know I played against a Blue Vader at some point, and it was very funny because I did literally just discard their hand constantly. There was a time where they had they had to search their feelings, and they only had and no other cards in their hand, and they searched for a vigilance, and then I just spark a rebellion it out of their hand, and they just kept not being able to play the game. They didn't get to super laser blast me or anything. It was I'm pretty sure it was a 2-0 as well. But super fun for me to play. Unfortunately, my opponent didn't get to play the game. But that's kind of what this deck is trying to do. Yeah, so we'll skip some other things. Okay, we'll just, because we don't want this video to be 100 million years long. I want to show you the rest of the deck lists that were in the top 8 of both of those as well. And so what ended up happening is, while I was in top 8, I was X1, there were 2 X2s in top 8. And the way that they were doing it is they essentially turned the top 8 into like a top 16 instead. And except that the person who was undefeated, the one undefeated, didn't have to play in the top 16 round. And so then I played against a Luke player in the top 16, and it was such a crazy game. So at that point in my life, it's quite possible that I had played against 0 green Lukes with any deck ever in my life. Like, I've seen games happen. I've watched videos. I consume content just like all of you. So I was aware, but like, as far as actual experience, I had no experience. I knew Alliance Dispatcher was insane, that you'd want to take care of that. And what's crazy is all 3 games played completely differently. It was so crazy. Game 1, I'm pretty sure he like double devotioned a space unit, and I never drew Waylay, and then so I died. And then game 2, I was able to discard his hand, and he wasn't able to play the game. And then in that game 2, it was really crazy. There was a moment where I think I had the initiative, and they did something where they, like, I don't know if I used a Spark or Rebellion. I might have used a Spark or Rebellion, and I think they had 2 U-Wings in their hand, and so I just discarded one of them. And then they were, I think they did some plays, but I took initiative, actually, going into their 7 resource turn. Man, something must have happened, because I can't remember what it was, but they basically, I think they only had U-Wing reinforcement in their hand going into the next round. And I was at 6 resources, and I just had Ezra Bridger hit the face. And right after or the base, I should say, and right after Ezra hit the base, his effect top decked for surrender, and so I immediately got to just discard the U-Wing reinforcement out of the Luke's hand, and, you know, draw cards myself. And they had like just their leader on the board too, and I had all sorts of stuff, and so it was a wild game. But I got him on that round. But in the final round, it was such an insane blowout. Like, it was so crazy. And the saddest part is, I don't know for sure, but I might have resourced a Sabine unit on turn 1, which if I did, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. But there's a chance that I did, because I think I looked at my hand and I saw I could play Ezra Bridger or Millennium Falcon or something turn 1. I think I tunnel visioned, and they had initiative, and then because of Han resourcing, it made it so that they got to keep initiative, and they did play Alliance Dispatcher and put a shield on it, and they took the initiative. And I think, and I played Ezra Bridger. Okay, I played Ezra Bridger. They have the initiative. They literally start their turn escort skiffing with the discount from Alliance Dispatcher right into my Ezra Bridger, kills the Ezra Bridger, which essentially discarded a card from my hand turn 1. And then they still had a shielded Alliance Dispatcher, and they had a 4-1 on their board. And the game was instantly over. It was so over, it was crazy. I've never seen a play on turn 2 that just ended the game so fast in my life. And the following turn was basically, yeah, discount an Echo-based defender and give it a shield. And then they're hitting me in the face with the escort skiff every turn after that. And then it just, oh my gosh, it spiraled so far out of control. It's crazy. So anyways, I did lose in that top 16 there. Unfortunate, but super fun. But man, I was actually pretty thankful, because playing this deck all day was brain melting. It was honestly brain melting, figuring out the lines, knowing which plays to do, and essentially I was kind of learning the deck at the same time and learning the combos, and it was fun though. It was very, very fun, very fun. I highly recommend it. Give it a try. And on the Villainy day, the following day at the other 1K, I decided to play Green Sabine. Nothing really special here. I figured that there'd be a lot of Darth Vaders and other things, and it was true. There was so many Darth Vader players, not even just blue. Like there might have been like 2 Darth Vader blues, and then there was a lot of Darth Vader greens, and it was like green Darth Vader just doesn't have the healing unless you gotta have main decked Consortium Star Vipers to stand a chance against Sabine, I think, as Green Vader. But yeah, round 1 I played against Green Vader, a friend of mine, and yeah, 2-0'd. And then I also played him in top 8. He was in the top 8, same thing again, just 2-0, and he even like drew optimally. And it's just like Green Sabine is just pretty crazy against a deck that really doesn't have much healing and is a little bit slower. It's just wild. And so I got to play against the Blue Vader player again from the day before. He was playing again today, or on that day, and I beat him in Swiss, and then I also beat him for determining who is 3rd and 4th, because in the semifinals, I lost to my friend Ian. He was playing Green Iden, and it was really close, really down to it. Ian played sided in his Relentless, and I was too worried about a removal, so I actually attacked with my Dodonna first, even though I had a Heroic Sacrifice in my hand, I think, because I wanted to play a red 3, or not a Heroic Sacrifice, a Rebel Assault, and then he ended up playing the Relentless, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I should have just played the red 3 first, and then I had a Heroic Sacrifice in my hand that I could just play to get negated by the Relentless, and then just Rebel Assault, my R2D2 that was buffed up with Wing Leader, and then Dodonna and all that extra damage, and then red 3 damage. I think it would have been like 11 damage. I would have been able to get it then, but that's not what I did. I played around a different thing, and that different thing is not what happened. But it was a good game. Ian's a great player, and so then I had to play against the Blue Vader again, determining who gets the 3rd place prize, which was an IG88 showcase, and I was able to get him again, once again, 2-0, or no, we went to game 3 on that one, actually. He did kill me with Vader once, so yeah, we did go to game 3 on that one. But like I said, nothing special on this deck. I'll show you the side deck over here. Yeah, Consortium Star Viper Wolf. I put the 2 Forced Surrenders in there for the hard control because, like I said, it was Villainy Incentive Day. And so we put them in there. The U-Wing Reinforcement was really good against those control decks as well. Super good. I decided to opt for only 1 Bright Hope, just because I wasn't expecting like aggro decks, really. There was only 1 other Sabine player there. And so, yeah, I opted to have an extra Dodonna instead of a Bright Hope. And honestly, no complaints about this list. This list felt pretty optimal. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, nothing to say. Now, this one was, like I said, it was a little bit smaller tournament. So I went 4-1, and then I was actually locked in for top 8, because then there was like a top 16 match, but so there was undefeated, and then there was me, and then 1 other X1, and everybody else was like X2 or worse. And so those players had to play a single elimination round to choose who the other 5 players joining the top 8 would be. And so I got to relax for an hour, so that was pretty nice. Before this day, I had actually played 0 tournament games with Sabine myself, but I did play a lot of this on the Friday night practicing against my friend Greg, who's practicing Blue Vader. He needed practice against this matchup, and so I kind of got my Sabine practice that day. And wow, it was wild. This deck is crazy. All right, so now we'll go to just the rest of the lists. You're gonna find some interesting stuff here. I should have teased this earlier in the video, but man, if you made it this far, put 2020 in your, leave a comment that says 2020 and that you made it this far, or whatever else you want, your favorite emoji. But seriously, you're gonna see some interesting things in these lists. Okay, so we'll start it off with my friend Ian. I think he played the same deck both days. Nothing super crazy here. We'll move over to the side over here so you can see that side deck. And yeah, it's mostly normal stuff. He didn't know how he felt about the Piet. He was trying to live the Piet Reinforcement Walker dream, I believe he was mentioning to me. So yeah, nothing super wild here. Next, this is Miles. This is crazy. So this was a friend of mine that I played round 1 of the Villainy Day and in the top 8 of the Villainy Day. And you're gonna notice, yeah, you got the sideboard over there. We're gonna cover it up now. He only has 1 Darth Vader unit, and he got 3rd place the day before. He got 3rd place and won a turret showcase on the Heroism incentive day, and I'm pretty sure he didn't make any changes to his deck either between the 2 days. And yeah, that's crazy. As you can see, he invested in some 5th Brother and 7th Sister and a couple lightsabers and a Homestead Militia over here, as well as a couple space units. But yeah, 1 Darth Vader, that's it. And hey, he got some solid prizes that weekend. It was pretty wild. Next, this is Curtis's Blue Vader. This was now this resupply is fake. It's not actually there. This was an error. It was actually restock. So his deck list was technically false, but it was supposed to be restock and not resupply. So just ignore that resupply there. I didn't actually count this to see if this is like extra cards or if maybe they goofed up the deck list even further. But yeah, so standard, nothing really special to note there. There's the side over there with a bounty hunter crew, some devotions. The devotions were crazy. When I got to play him the second day with Sabine, I did get to use a Fang Fighter on a devotion that he put on his Inferno 4 instantly. Like, he played it and I had the Fang Fighter just waiting. Yeah, it's a pretty standard list so far right now. Christine, oh my gosh, she completely blew me out on the second tournament when I was playing Sabine. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I'll move over here so you can see the side deck. She's got the main deck Consortium Star Vipers, and freaking game 1 against her, I mulliganed into no 2-drops as Sabine. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I'll take the initiative. And I think she played Viper Probe Droid and saw, yeah, that I was going to be taking the initiative. And then I think I played a ship. I think I played a Red 3 in space. And she Energy Conversion Lab to Consortium Star Viper into it in the main deck. And I was like, wow, this game is over. And it was over. I'm pretty sure she actually 2-0'd me. And then, she's got the shoot first in the side as well. So, yep. Really great deck. It had the recruits in it. Here's Alan. This was from the second tournament. He was the only other Sabine player on that day. The list is mostly pretty standard, except that it's got 2 Rebel Pathfinders in here. So I know some people play those, but yeah. And then the side is I would have 3 Rebel Assaults in the main. I mean, you already know, right? You saw me put them in there. Nothing too crazy in here. 3 Dodonas in the main. That's totally fine. No Bright Hopes. All right, here is Eric's list. This list is wild. This Boba Green list is crazy. He actually won the Villainy Day. He got 1st place. He got a Leia showcase. We'll show you the side over there. Yeah, this is a pretty wild deck. It's a little bit aggro-y, but it's really interesting. You'll notice that he's not playing Resupply and is instead playing Strike True. He's still playing the Super Laser Technicians, but and 0 Waylays. The Waylays are in the side, so that's pretty crazy. Yeah, and Strike True, a little bit crazy, but maybe it did the work a little bit, I guess. They got the win. And 2 Rooks in the main deck, and then got some big ships in the side, and a 3rd Rook, as well as a Bodhi Rook, and then 1 Spark of Rebellion in the side. And then you'll notice he's got 97th Legion in here. and he's really high on this card, honestly. He was talking to me about it. If you are at a like stabilized board state, you're not needing to make an immediate impact on the board. It is actually a little bit crazy because you play it down. It's 7 power, and then on the next turn you resource and it's at 8 power, and you can just hit your opponent in the face for 8 damage. Like, I guess it's, yeah, I mean, he liked it, so and it's in here, and he won, so you can't really argue too much with that, I guess. Here's Connor's Boba Fett list, mostly pretty standard here. We've got playing 1 cunning in here, which is kind of a trend here. Dropped 1 resupply, is also playing 2 recruits. Christine was playing 2 recruits as well. And then at the side has some of your typical side stuff, some control side, some aggro side, and then the change of heart for the Boba, it looks like. We got another green Boba. I don't know if this one was from the Villainy day or the Heroism day, but almost the same thing in the side. They put the 3rd steadfast in the side instead of keeping it in the main. They got shoot firsts for aggro in the main. Only 2 waylays. Yeah, it's mostly pretty standard. Next, we've got Josh Miles with the green Sabine. What I find really interesting about this is playing green Sabine but not playing Steadfast Battalion is very interesting to me, and opting for the Guerrilla Attack Pod. But what's even crazier, they've got Bombing Run here in the main. It's a little crazy, but you know, against the aggro matchup, I guess if you end up dodging the other arena and they're racing you in the opposite one, you can just Bombing Run their units, and then maybe you keep racing space. I don't know if that's exactly good enough. They also have Power Failure in the side. I suppose that could be for Lieutenant Childsons to put them down to just 2 HP. I don't know. Or for turrets. Could be for turret. Yeah, nothing else too different about this list other than those things already mentioned. Then we've got Sam. This was the winner of the Heroism day. Not a Heroism deck, but the green Krennic comes in with the 2 main deck Devastators. We got 2 Gideon, 2 Traitorous, 3 Childson. What's actually really crazy to me about this list is there's 3 Childson in here, and actually most of the deck is not blue. When you add all of the black cards and the green cards, it's more than 25 cards are not blue. And so it's kind of wild. Maybe it's just that I mean, they've got the ramp too, but I guess maybe they're like, if I don't get to ramp, I'm playing a Sentinel on 3 resources. I'm playing a Sentinel on 4 resources just for more Sentinels, I guess. And I mean, it is another unit. They're playing 3 Cargo Juggernauts. It's a blue unit, so maybe it just gets there, I guess. Not really too many insane turn 1 plays, really just like Viper Probe and Scout Bike. Only 2 Inferno 4s is pretty interesting. And then the side has 1 Avenger, 1 Steadfast, literally just a single Steadfast Battalion with no Steadfasts in the main. And then 2 Delmicos, 2 Entrenches. Yeah, pretty crazy. And then are we already back? Is this just Ian's deck again? Maybe Ian's deck was slightly different each day. Oh yeah, it is. This is Ian's deck on the different day. I'm not sure which one was for which, but you'll notice that he doesn't have the Admiral Pia in here. So yeah, Ian got into the top 8 on both events, which is very cool. He's a very good player, so definitely deserved. This must have been for the Heroism day because there's no restocks in the main, and you would expect Villainy day that there's going to be some Blue Vaders. Oh, here's Matt Freed. He is a pretty dedicated yellow Boba player, really good player. Nothing really stands out too wild in this deck list. It's got the Frontier ATRTs that we've seen sometimes when yellow Boba includes some extra space units just to be able to have that ambush online more reliably. The sideboard to defeat some Traitorous or Entrenches, and then Change of Heart for the mirror match, it seems. He also mentioned playing this ISB agent in the side to be able to ping shields off of Luke's and stuff like that. So yeah, he got in the top cut, I believe. Yeah, this was this Saturday, so in the Heroism Day, he was playing this deck list. And then we are to Coulter, a Sabine player. This is, yeah, I played him in the 6th round on the Heroism Day with my discard Han, and I do remember him milling this wolf off of a for a cause I believe in game 1, so did 1 less damage to me, so thanks Coulter, I appreciate it. And yeah, basically it's like pretty similar list to all the other stuff that we've seen before. He doesn't have any Dodanas in the main. He's got 2 Bright Hopes, otherwise pretty much the same list as mine. And then, hey, here's Miles' list again. So this is, looks like he might have kept them the same. Now that I'm looking at it, I think these lists are the same. This side might be different. This side might be slightly different, I'm not sure. You can check back in the video and look at the other Miles list. So yeah, Miles got into both tops. Ian got into both tops. Very cool. And then we're back to me. Huge. All right, well, geez, a 31-minute video wrapping up 2 back-to-back 1K tournaments. Whew, it was pretty fun. The Han deck, once again, I'd highly recommend. If you're looking for a fun deck to play, this discard Han deck is super fun. It might melt your brain a little bit learning to play it, but it's super fun. I love discarding cards. I don't know what is wrong with me. I love playing card games, and I love playing decks where it makes it so my opponent doesn't get to play the card game. So I don't know. This one feels a little bit more interactive than playing Blue Vader, though, I guess. But because you actually play units and you do attack, you do things earlier. But oh man, it's a fun one. So that is going to be it for this video, I believe. If you enjoyed it, you can leave a like if you want. If not, that's okay. My life is still going to be super awesome, and I appreciate you for just watching this far anyways. You're amazing. I'll see you in the next video.